The alien city pulsed with neon light, its skyline an intricate web of floating platforms and gravity-defying towers. A vast bazaar sprawled beneath the towering structures, filled with creatures from every corner of the galaxy. Hovering drones zipped between stalls, translating alien tongues into a garbled chorus of commerce. Amidst this controlled chaos, a lone human boy, Ezra Carter, wove through the crowd, his oversized jacket marking him as an outsider among the taller, sleeker extraterrestrials. The locals barely spared him a glance, but today, something unusual caught his attention. A figure slumped against the base of a levitating obelisk, shrouded in rags that barely covered her frail form. Her silvery skin, though marred by dirt, hinted at something regal beneath the grime. Her eyes, dim but deep with unspoken sorrow, flicked up as Ezra approached. "Spare a credit, young one." Her voice was barely more than a whisper, hoarse and unfamiliar with kindness. Ezra hesitated. On Zelvar Prime, humans weren't exactly welcome. They were a novelty at best, pests at worst. And beggars? The mighty Zelvar Empire had no place for the weak. Their entire culture revolved around strength, status, and genetic superiority. Helping this woman wouldn't just be an act of defiance. It would be seen as foolishness. And, of course, there was an audience. Nearby, a trio of young Zelvar nobles stood, their sleek, obsidian-like skin catching the light. They had been watching him, their eyes glinting with cruel amusement. One of them, a particularly tall male with golden facial markings, nudged his companion. "Look at this, Sayal. The human pet plays at charity." Ezra clenched his jaw but didn't rise to the bait. Instead, he knelt before the woman and dug into his pocket. He had barely enough credits to last him another day, but something about her, maybe the way she trembled or how her eyes held ancient sadness, made it impossible to ignore her suffering. The largest of the nobles, a hulking figure named Jurox, sneered. "That is pathetic. You must be defective even by human standards." Sayal flicked her wrist, and a holographic menu materialized above her palm. With a few casual taps, she projected an image of the beggar onto the air. "Let's see if anyone claims her. Maybe she's a fugitive, or maybe she's just gutter trash." The laughter that followed was sharp and biting. Ezra ignored them. He pressed a few credits into the woman's trembling hand and helped her drink from a hydration pack. Her fingers, though weak, squeezed his hand in gratitude. But then something strange happened. The crowd around them quieted. Ezra felt the shift immediately, a ripple in the air, as if an unseen presence had entered the space. The beggar woman stiffened, her grip tightening. Then, a voice boomed from above. "Cease at once." Descending from the sky, a squad of Imperial enforcers clad in shimmering battle armor landed with synchronized precision. The lead officer, an imposing figure with a helmet that concealed his face, strode toward them. The nobles instantly straightened, their sneers replaced with confusion. The officer's helmet retracted, revealing the sharp, aristocratic features of a high-ranking Zelvar commander. His piercing violet eyes locked onto the beggar woman, and when he spoke again, his voice carried the weight of command. "My queen, we have found you." A collective gasp swept through the market. Ezra blinked. "Wait, what?" The beggar woman, who had moments ago been frail and pitiful, suddenly sat up straighter. Though still weak, an undeniable regality settled onto her shoulders. The nobles, now wide-eyed with shock, stumbled backward. Jurox's voice cracked. That cannot be." But the evidence was undeniable. Beneath the grime, the woman's features held the unmistakable markings of the lost ruler of Zelvar Prime. Queen Navana, thought to have perished a decade ago during an internal coup. And the human boy, the one they had mocked for his foolish compassion, had been the one to aid her. Ezra swallowed hard as the officer turned his gaze onto him. The entire market seemed to hold its breath. "You," the commander said, his tone unreadable. "You helped her." Ezra wasn't sure whether that was a good thing or a very, very bad thing. And he was about to find out. The silence was unbearable. The entire marketplace, once a cacophony of alien voices and haggling merchants, now stood frozen in shock. Ezra felt the weight of countless eyes on him, some filled with disbelief, others with raw hostility. The enforcers remained still, their shimmering armor reflecting the neon glow of the city. Even the air itself seemed heavier, charged with something Ezra could only describe as impending doom. Queen Navana, once slumped and frail, was now rigid with tension. Though she had yet to reclaim her former glory, something about her posture, chin lifted, shoulders squared, made it clear she was no ordinary beggar. Jurox and his noble friends, who had only moments ago been mocking Ezra, had paled considerably. Sial swallowed hard, her holographic menu vanishing with a quick flick of her fingers. The reality of their actions was setting in, and from the look on their faces, they realized they had been playing with fire. Ezra, on the other hand, was still trying to make sense of everything. Queen? Lost ruler? How was she here? Why was she here? The commander's piercing gaze flicked between Ezra and Navana before he motioned to his soldiers. Secure the queen. Immediately, two armored figures stepped forward and reached for Navana, but she recoiled. I will stand on my own, she rasped, pushing herself up with visible effort. Though her limbs trembled from weakness, her dignity remained intact. Ezra barely had time to react before he felt something clamp around his wrist. A cold, metallic restraint. His stomach dropped. Wait, what is this? He demanded, twisting his arm. I didn't do anything wrong. The commander's expression didn't waver. You aided an unregistered entity of royal blood. You will come with us. Ezra's gut twisted. That's ridiculous. I was just. Silence, the commander snapped. You will answer for your actions before the High Council. Ezra opened his mouth to argue, but Navana's hand suddenly shot out, resting lightly on his arm. Let him be, she said. Though her voice was weak, it carried an undeniable authority. He is no criminal. The commander hesitated, then lowered his head slightly. My queen, with all due respect, he must be questioned. He has been in contact with you, and we do not know if he acted alone or as part of a larger conspiracy. Conspiracy? Ezra nearly laughed at the absurdity of it. He was just a kid scraping by in the alien underbelly of the city, doing what he could to survive. And now, because he gave a starving woman some credits and water, he was being roped into some royal drama? Navana exhaled sharply, her expression unreadable. Then, slowly, she nodded. Very well, but he is under my protection. Harm him, and you will answer to me. Jurox, who had been silent up until now, suddenly found his voice. This is madness, he hissed. He's just some human gutter rat. You would protect him over your own kind. Navana's gaze snapped to him, and for the first time, a flicker of something dangerous gleamed in her silver eyes. And you, she said coolly, mocked and humiliated the very one who extended kindness where none was given. Tell me, noble son of Zelvar, where were your acts of mercy? Where was your honor? Jurox flinched as if slapped. His companion stepped back, clearly wanting no part in this anymore. The commander turned sharply. Enough. We are leaving. Ezra barely had time to process what was happening before he was shoved forward. A transport pod hovered down from above, its sleek frame unfolding as its doors hissed open. The enforcers guided Navana inside first, then motioned for Ezra to follow. As he stepped into the pod, he cast one last look at the marketplace. The sea of onlookers was still watching, their faces a mixture of confusion, resentment, and curiosity. And Jurox? He was staring at Ezra with something else entirely. Hatred. The doors slid shut with a final, echoing clang. The ride was silent. Ezra sat stiffly beside Navana, his hands curled into fists in his lap. The commander and his soldiers remained stone-faced, offering no explanation, no reassurances. Just cold, unrelenting silence. Finally, Ezra turned to Navana. Okay, I think I deserve some answers. What the hell is going on? Who are you really? Navana exhaled slowly, tilting her head back against the seat. I am Queen Navana, rightful ruler of Zelvar Prime. 10 years ago, my reign was usurped in a bloody coup. I was thought to be dead. Ezra blinked. And instead, you were begging for scraps in the marketplace. A ghost of a smile touched her lips. Survival humbles even the mighty, child. I have spent years in exile, waiting for the right moment to reclaim my throne. Her gaze softened slightly. And then, a boy, a human boy, showed kindness when no one else would. Fate is strange. Ezra rubbed his temples. Yeah, I don't know if it's fate or just really, really bad luck. Navana chuckled. Perhaps both. The pod lurched, signaling their arrival. The doors hissed open, revealing a massive, gleaming structure, The Imperial Citadel. Ezra swallowed hard. This was bad. The commander gestured for them to move. The High Council is expecting you. As they stepped forward, Ezra had the sinking realization that whatever happened next, it would change his life forever.